The Galactic Senate Station floated silently above the burning red star of Keros Prime. It was one of the largest structures ever built in the known galaxy. Millions of lights glowed across its metal surface, like stars trapped inside steel. Inside the giant station, thousands of alien leaders filled the massive Senate chamber. Representatives from hundreds of worlds sat in long circular rows around the center platform. Some were covered in scales. Some had silver skin. Others wore breathing masks filled with strange gases. But today, every eye in the chamber focused on one species: humans. At the center platform stood Ambassador Elena Reyes of Earth. She wore a simple dark blue uniform with a silver symbol of humanity on her chest. Her hands rested calmly behind her back. Her face showed no fear. That confused many aliens, because surrounding her were hundreds of armed Korthian soldiers. The Korthian Empire ruled nearly one-third of the galaxy. Their fleets had destroyed entire civilizations during their rise to power. Most species obeyed them out of fear. And today, the Empire had called this emergency meeting for only one reason: to announce the end of humanity. A deep metallic sound echoed through the chamber as the giant Senate doors opened. Supreme Commander Vol entered slowly. The room instantly became silent. Vol was enormous, even by Korthian standards. Dark armor covered his massive body. Long scars crossed his pale gray face. Behind him marched heavily armed guards carrying energy spears. He walked toward the center platform like a king walking to his throne. Many alien leaders lowered their heads immediately. Humans did not. Elena Reyes simply watched him quietly. Commander Vol stopped only a few steps away from her. His glowing yellow eyes narrowed slightly. Then he turned toward the Senate. "Representatives of the galaxy," he announced in a cold, powerful voice. "Today marks the beginning of a necessary cleansing." The giant chamber remained completely silent. Vol raised one clawed hand toward Elena. For decades, humanity has hidden behind diplomacy and trade agreements while secretly spreading across nearby systems. Large holographic screens subtly activated around the chamber. Images of human colonies, shipyards, and military factories appeared in the air. The aliens began whispering nervously. "Humanity claims peace," Vol continued, "yet they continue expanding their military power in secret." More images appeared. Massive human ships hidden inside asteroid fields. Underground facilities beneath lunar surfaces. Strange dark objects orbiting distant planets. "These actions violate galactic stability," Vol said loudly. "The Korthian Empire can no longer ignore the threat Earth represents." The chamber exploded with noise. Some aliens looked shocked. Others looked excited. Several senators even began cheering. Humanity had always been viewed as strange. Humans were emotional, unpredictable, too curious, too ambitious. Many powerful species already feared what humans might become in the future. Commander Vol slowly lifted both hands, calming the chamber. Then he spoke the words that changed the galaxy forever. "As Supreme Commander of the Korthian Empire, I officially declare total war on the Sol System and all human colonies." The Senate erupted. Loud cheers echoed across the chamber. Alien reporters rushed to transmit the historic moment across known space. Some senators laughed openly while staring at the lone human ambassador. To them, humanity was already dead. No species had ever survived a full Korthian war campaign. Not one. Vol turned toward Elena with a cruel smile. "Humanity will surrender all military assets immediately," he said. "If not, Earth itself will be erased." The entire chamber waited for the human response. Many expected fear. Others expected anger. But Elena Reyes simply stood there quietly. For several long seconds, she said nothing. Then she asked a single question. "Are you absolutely certain?" The Senate suddenly grew quieter. Commander Vol frowned. "What?" Elena's calm eyes never moved from his face. "Are you absolutely certain," she repeated softly, "that this is what your empire wants?" Some aliens laughed again. One senator shouted, "The humans are begging already." More laughter spread through the chamber. But Vol noticed something strange. The human ambassador did not sound afraid, not even slightly. If anything, She sounded disappointed. Commander Vol stepped closer. You should fear what comes next, human. For the first time, Elena slowly smiled. It was not a weak smile, not nervous, not forced. It was a smile of someone hearing news they had expected for a very long time. And suddenly, the room no longer felt comfortable. Several senators stopped laughing. Vol's eyes narrowed again. Elena gave a small, respectful nod. Then humanity accepts your declaration. The chamber became silent. No begging, no threats, no panic, just acceptance. That unsettled everyone. Commander Vol's voice became colder. You speak boldly for a species facing extinction. Elena finally looked around the giant Senate chamber, at the cheering crowds, at the smiling senators, at the proud military officers. Then she quietly said, for over 200 years, humanity followed every galactic law. We accepted every insult, every restriction, every warning. Her voice remained calm. But while the galaxy believed humans were becoming weak, her smile returned slightly. Humanity was preparing. A strange feeling spread through the chamber. Fear, small at first, but growing. Commander Vol suddenly felt angry without understanding why. You think your species can defeat the Empire? Elena looked directly into his glowing eyes. No, she answered softly. I think you have no idea what you just awakened. Then she turned and began walking away. The Senate doors slowly opened before her. No guard stopped her. No soldiers moved. The entire chamber watched in complete silence as a lone human ambassador disappeared into the shadows beyond the doors. Moments later, warning alarms suddenly echoed across the station. One military officer received a transmission and froze. His face lost all color. Commander Vol grabbed him violently. What is happening? The officer struggled to speak. Yes, sir, multiple hidden human fleets have just appeared near Corthian border sectors. The chamber instantly exploded into panic. Another officer shouted from across the room. Emergency reports from the outer colonies. A third officer looked terrified. The Galactic Senate Station had never experienced panic like this before. Warning alarms flashed red across every corridor. Officers ran between command stations while frightened senators shouted over one another. Emergency broadcasts spread through the galaxy faster than light itself. Humanity had responded to the declaration of war within minutes. That alone terrified everyone. Inside the central command chamber, Supreme Commander Vol stood motionless before a giant holographic map of known space. His glowing yellow eyes stared at dozens of flashing red symbols appearing near Corthian border systems. Human fleets. Hidden human fleets. Entire battle groups had appeared from regions previously believed empty. That is impossible, one Corthian admiral whispered. Our scanners searched those sectors for decades. Another officer looked pale. The humans were hiding military stations inside dead asteroid belts. The holographic map zoomed closer. Massive black warships emerged from darkness between drifting rocks and frozen moons. Their ships carried no bright lights like most galactic vessels. No banners. No glowing symbols. Only dark metal, cold and silent, like predators finally leaving the shadows. Commander Vol clenched his fists. How many? The answer came quietly. More than we estimated. That means nothing, Vol snapped. The officer swallowed nervously. We estimated humanity possessed around 300 combat ships. He paused. Current numbers suggest over 12,000. Silence filled the room. Even the air suddenly felt heavy. That number was impossible. No species could secretly build fleets that large without detection. Unless they were planning this, another admiral whispered. Vol immediately turned toward him. Humans do not plan centuries ahead. But deep inside, even he no longer believed those words. Meanwhile, light years away, Earth remained strangely calm. In New York City, people walked through crowded streets while giant screens displayed emergency news reports from the Senate station. Families sat inside restaurants watching alien reporters scream about humanity's hidden military uprising. Yet nobody panicked. No riots. No chaos. No fear. A young alien tourist stared in confusion at the humans around him. "How are they so calm?" he asked quietly. Beside him, an old human man sipped coffee while watching the news. "Because," the man answered calmly, "this isn't the beginning of the war." The alien frowned. "What do you mean?" The old man looked toward the sky. "It's the end waiting." Far beneath the Atlantic Ocean, hidden doors the size of mountains slowly opened for the first time in over 100 years. Dark water rushed aside as enormous warships began rising from the depths. Thousands of them. The ships looked unlike anything in the known galaxy. Smooth black armor covered their surfaces. Blue energy lines glowed softly across their hulls, like veins beneath skin. Some ships were so large they blocked entire sections of ocean from satellite view. Deep underground across Earth, military bunkers awakened one after another. Artificial intelligence systems activated. Weapon networks came online. Long-hidden factories began producing machines at terrifying speed. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for the exact moment diplomacy failed. And now the waiting was over. Inside one underground command facility beneath Geneva, world leaders gathered around a circular table. President Adrian Cole stood silently while military officers updated global defenses. "The Corthian First Fleet is approaching the outer Sol system," one general reported. "Estimated arrival time? For hours." Another officer activated a hologram showing enemy formations. Scans confirm over 800 enemy warships. Some younger officers looked nervous, but the older commanders remained calm. President Cole finally spoke. "Civilian evacuation? Already completed in priority zones. Lunar defenses? Ready. Mars fleet. Awaiting orders." Cole nodded once. Then he looked toward the massive reinforced doors at the far end of the chamber. "Wake the Ninth Fleet." The room suddenly became quiet. One officer looked uneasy. "Sir, are you certain?" Cole's face remained emotionless. "The Empire declared extinction." He looked around the room slowly. They wanted humanity unleashed. Nobody argued after that. Far beyond Pluto, hidden inside complete darkness, gigantic machines suddenly came alive. Light stretched across metal surfaces larger than cities. Massive engines awakened with deep thunder-like vibrations. One by one, colossal warships emerged from frozen shadows. These were not normal combat vessels. They were ancient human dreadnoughts built during Earth's darkest wars long before humanity joined the galactic community. Weapons so destructive that humans themselves had hidden them away, and now they were returning. Back near Corthian space, the Empire launched its first official invasion fleet toward Earth. Hundreds of warships moved together in perfect formation. Their commanders still believed humanity could be crushed quickly through overwhelming force. Inside the lead flagship, Admiral Serac studied incoming intelligence reports with growing frustration. Human resistance remained scattered. One officer claimed nervously. "Scattered?" Serac growled. "They destroyed 3 border fleets in less than an hour." Another officer interrupted suddenly. "Admiral, strange readings detected ahead." The bridge lights dimmed slightly. A dark object slowly appeared on the main screen. Then another, and another. Human ships. Dozens of them drifted silently in the darkness ahead. No movement, no communication. They simply waited. Admiral Serac frowned. "Open a channel." Static filled the bridge speakers. Then a calm human voice finally answered. "You are entering restricted territory." Serac laughed coldly. This system now belongs to the Corthian Empire. Several long seconds passed. Then the voice replied, "No." The stars themselves suddenly disappeared. At first, the Corthian officers thought power had failed. Then they realized something horrifying. Thousands of human ships had surrounded them completely. Hidden cloaking fields vanished across the battlefield all at once. The Corthian fleet was trapped. Admiral Serac's eyes widened in shock. How long were they there? No one answered. Human ships began moving silently between the enemy formation. Still no weapons fired. Still no threats. The destruction of the Corthian invasion fleet sent shockwaves across the galaxy. For the first time in modern history, an entire Imperial battle group had vanished without achieving a single victory. News stations replayed the battle footage endlessly. Black human warships appearing from darkness. Corthian cruisers exploding in seconds. Silent human fleets moving like hunters surrounding trapped prey. Every civilization watched in disbelief. Some thought the footage was fake. Others believed humanity had discovered ancient alien technology. But deep inside the Galactic Senate Station, the truth slowly became impossible to ignore. Humanity had lied to everyone. For 2 centuries, humans had acted peaceful, weak, and harmless while secretly building the deadliest war machine in known space. Inside the emergency war chamber, Supreme Commander Vol stared silently at the floating casualty reports before him. 800 warships destroyed. 0 human losses confirmed. Several Corthian admirals shifted nervously around the room. Nobody wanted to speak first. Finally, one officer cleared his throat carefully. "Commander, perhaps we underestimated humanity." Vol's glowing eyes slowly moved toward him. Underestimated? The officer swallowed hard. Human military power appears significantly larger than expected. Larger? Another admiral interrupted angrily. They erased an Imperial fleet in 12 minutes. The room erupted into arguments. They used illegal cloaking systems. No, their ships moved too fast. That weapon technology should not exist. They prepared for this war long before it began. Vol slammed one armored fist against the table. Instant silence filled the chamber. Then he spoke quietly. "That is impossible." But even he no longer believed his own words. A smaller hologram activated near the center of the table. It showed archive footage from Earth's history. Ancient human wars. Cities burning beneath nuclear fire. Massive explosions destroying entire regions. Human soldiers fighting through smoke and ruin. The Corthian officers watched uneasily. These records were hidden inside restricted human databases. An intelligence officer explained. "Our cyber units recovered them after the war began." More footage appeared. Humans fighting one another for centuries. World wars, civil wars, machine wars, genetic experiments, economic collapse, global disasters, entire generations surviving inside radioactive wastelands. The officers became quieter with every image. One admiral finally whispered, "How did their species survive this?" The intelligence officer answered softly, "They adapted." The room fell silent again. Humanity had not become strong through peace. Humanity became strong because they survived endless violence against themselves long before reaching the stars. Suddenly many things started making sense. Human emotional control, human military discipline, human obsession with preparation. They were not signs of weakness. They were scars. Scars carried by a species that learned survival the hardest possible way. Meanwhile, deep beneath the mountains of Mars, humanity prepared its next move. Huge underground shipyards worked day and night, producing weapons faster than alien spies believed possible. Sparks filled the giant construction chambers, while thousands of workers moved between unfinished war machines. General Marcus Hale walked through a facility beside Ambassador Elena Reyes. Massive battle mechs stood silently along the walls like sleeping giants. "You think the Empire understands yet?" Hale asked. Elena shook her head. "No, they lost an entire fleet. They still believe this is a normal war." Hale stopped beside a gigantic armored transport ship. "But it isn't." Elena looked toward the workers below. "No species in the galaxy truly understands humanity." She paused briefly. "Because humans spent centuries hiding what they are capable of." At that exact moment, alarms suddenly echoed across the Mars facility. An officer rushed toward them. Emergency report from the outer colonies. Holographic screens activated instantly. A second Corthian invasion force had entered human territory. This fleet was far larger than the first. Thousands of warships, heavy carriers, planet-killer weapons, enough firepower to destroy entire systems. General Hale smiled slightly. "They're angry now." Elena's expression remained serious. "That makes them dangerous." Far across space, the second Corthian fleet advanced toward the Sol system like a wall of steel. Admiral Corvith commanded the operation from the massive flagship Dominion. Unlike previous commanders, Corvus did not underestimate humans anymore. He studied every battle report carefully, every human tactic, every movement, every weakness. Or at least, he hoped they had weaknesses. Status, he asked. Human defenses detected near Jupiter. An officer answered. How many ships? The officer hesitated. Unknown. Corvus frowned. Unknown. Our scanners cannot fully penetrate the region. The main screen zoomed toward Jupiter. At first, nothing appeared unusual. Then the gas giant itself moved slightly. Several officers froze. That's impossible. Hidden beneath Jupiter's storms, gigantic metal structures slowly emerged from the clouds. Artificial stations. Enormous weapon platforms larger than cities. Thousands of them. Corvus stared in disbelief. Humans had weaponized entire planets. Before anyone could react, human transmissions suddenly filled every communication channel. A calm female voice echoed across the fleet. You entered this system willingly. Corvus immediately recognized the speaker. Ambassador Elena Reyes. Humanity does not fear war, she continued calmly. We fear what war turns civilizations into. The human signal paused briefly, but your empire made its choice. Suddenly, Jupiter's storms exploded outward. Countless hidden warships emerged from beneath the clouds like monsters rising from an ocean. Black armor reflected distant starlight. Massive cannons rotated toward the Corthian fleet, and behind them, something even larger appeared. At first, Corthian scanners could not understand the object size. Then calculations finished. The officers turned pale. The object was not a ship. It was a mobile fortress nearly the size of a moon. Human voices echoed again through every enemy vessel. Welcome to Seoul Defense Command. Fear spread through the Corthian fleet for the very first time. Back inside the Galactic Senate, panic was already consuming the chamber. Smaller civilizations demanded immediate peace talks. The galaxy had entered a level of fear never seen before. Every news network spoke about only one thing: humanity. For centuries, humans have been treated like a young species trying to survive among stronger civilizations. Alien governments mocked Earth's peaceful diplomacy and soft behavior. Now those same governments watched human war fleets destroy the mighty Corthian Empire sector by sector. And the worst part was simple. Humanity still looked calm. Across thousands of systems, alien citizens gathered around giant public screens showing live battle reports. Burning Corthian fleets drifted through space, while human warships moved silently through the darkness. No victory speeches. No celebrations. Only cold efficiency. That silence frightened the galaxy more than the battles themselves. Inside the Galactic Senate Station, the emergency chambers had become a battlefield of arguments. Senators shouted over one another, while military officers demanded immediate action. We must negotiate with Earth. No, humanity will conquer us all if they win. The Empire started this war. Then finish it before humans become unstoppable. Supreme Commander Vol stood above the chaos, like a statue carved from stone. His eyes burned with anger and exhaustion. The Corthian Empire had never suffered humiliation like this. Entire sectors were collapsing. Border colonies stopped answering imperial commands. Several allied species had already abandoned the Empire completely. Worst of all, rumors about humanity kept spreading. Some stories claimed humans created living machines. Others claimed Earth possessed weapons capable of destroying stars. Nobody knew what was true anymore, and fear always grows faster than truth. Suddenly, the chamber doors opened. A military officer rushed inside, carrying emergency data tablets. Commander Vol, he said nervously, we lost contact with the Reiner sector. Several senators gasped. The Reiner sector contained one of the Empire's largest military shipyards. That is impossible, Vol growled. There are millions of soldiers stationed there. The officer's hand shook slightly. Human forces appeared inside the sector less than 30 minutes ago. The main holographic screen activated immediately. Footage from surviving satellites filled the chamber. Entire shipyards burned across space. Massive explosions lit nearby planets like artificial suns. And moving silently between the wreckage were black human warships. Thousands of them. But something else caught everyone's attention. The human fleet was not alone. Strange alien ships fought beside them, long silver vessels marked with symbols unknown to the Senate. One senator stepped forward slowly. That cannot be possible. Commander Vol narrowed his eyes. Identify them. The answer made the entire room silent. The Valoran clans. Fear spread instantly through the chamber. The Valorans were ancient warrior species once feared across the galaxy. Nearly 80 years earlier, the Korthian Empire defeated them during a brutal war and pushed the survivors beyond explored space. Most civilizations believed they were extinct, but humanity had found them and somehow turned them into allies. Another transmission arrived seconds later. Then another. More hidden civilizations were joining humanity, species forgotten by the Empire, worlds abandoned after old wars, refugees, mercenaries, rebels. For years, humanity had secretly built relationships with species ignored by the rest of the galaxy, not through conquest, through trust. Commander Vol slowly realized something horrifying. Humanity had not prepared only weapons. They had prepared alliances. Meanwhile, far from the Senate station, Ambassador Elena Reyes stood inside the command bridge of the human flagship Resolute. The massive ship floated above a liberated colony world recently freed from Imperial control. Through the bridge windows, hundreds of Allied ships surrounded the planet peacefully. Valoran cruisers, human carriers, rebel destroyers. Species once divided now fought together under one command. General Marcus Hale approached Elena quietly. More systems are leaving the Empire, he reported. How many? 23 confirmed, possibly more by morning. Elena nodded slowly. The war was spreading faster than even humanity expected. Not because humans conquer worlds, because people were losing faith in the Empire. The galaxy is changing, Hale said quietly. Elena looked toward the stars. No, she answered softly. The galaxy is finally revealing what it always was. At that moment, warning alarms echoed across the bridge. An officer turned toward them. Emergency signal from Earth. The main screen activated instantly. A massive object appeared near Saturn. Even experienced officers became silent after seeing it. The object was enormous. At first it looked like a moving city. Then scale calculations appeared beside the image. The structure was over 400 kilometers long. General Hale frowned. That wasn't supposed to leave Earth orbit. Elena's expression darkened slightly. The council approved it? Yes. The bridge became quiet, because everyone knew exactly what the object was. The Titan-class dreadnought, one of humanity's oldest and most feared war machines, built during the final years before Earth joined the galactic community. A weapon so destructive that human governments buried its existence deep inside restricted archives. Now it was active again. Far away, inside the Korthian command fortress, Commander Vol watched the same footage in silence. The giant dreadnought moved slowly through space surrounded by hundreds of escort ships. Even through holograms, its size felt terrifying. What powers that thing? One officer whispered. Another officer answered quietly. We don't know. Vol clenched his jaw tightly. For the first time in his life, uncertainty entered his mind. He had spent decades conquering worlds. Every species eventually broke under fear. But humans were different. The more pressure the Empire applied, the stronger humanity became. Suddenly another officer rushed into the room. Commander, long-range sensors detected movement near the outer systems. How many ships? The officer looked pale. Too many to count. A cold feeling spread across the room. Vol slowly turned toward the holographic star map. Dozens of new human fleet markers appeared across Imperial territory. Then hundreds more, like darkness spreading through space. One frightened admiral whispered, where were they hiding all this? The war had changed the galaxy forever. Entire star systems now burned beneath the shadows of human fleets. The mighty Korthian Empire, once feared by every civilization, was collapsing faster each day. But despite all their victories, humanity had still not revealed its full strength. And deep inside Earth's leadership, that truth terrified everyone. Far beneath Antarctica, Hidden under kilometers of ancient ice, a classified facility remained sealed behind enormous steel doors. No public records mentioned it. No galactic scanners could detect it. Even most human military officers did not know it existed. The place was called Vault Zero. Inside the frozen underground complex, thousands of warning lights suddenly activated across dark corridors untouched for over a century. Massive generators awakened one after another with deep thunder-like vibrations. Something was coming online. Something humanity once swore would never awaken again. Meanwhile, above Earth, the skies had become crowded with warships. Human defense fleets surrounded the planet in endless layers. Giant orbital cannons floated beside the moon, while military stations tracked every movement across nearby space. The entire Sol system had transformed into a fortress. Yet fear still existed inside human command centers, because new reports were arriving every hour. The Corthian Empire was preparing one final attack. Inside the underground command chamber beneath Geneva, President Adrian Cole studied the latest battlefield updates in silence. A holographic projection filled the room. Enemy fleet numbers kept increasing. Thousands, then tens of thousands. Entire Imperial Reserve forces were moving toward Earth from every remaining sector. General Marcus Hale looked grim. This is everything they have left. Another officer nodded slowly. Commander Vol is risking the entire empire. President Cole crossed his arms. He knows the war ends here. The room became quiet. Everyone understood the meaning behind those words. If Earth survived, the empire would collapse completely. If Earth fell, humanity might never recover. Suddenly, the chamber doors opened. Ambassador Elena Reyes entered quickly carrying encrypted data tablets. The outer defense stations confirmed visual contact, she announced. The holographic map zoomed outward immediately. Gasps spread through the room. The Corthian fleet covered nearly the entire screen. Warships filled the darkness like an endless metal storm. Planet killer cruisers, heavy carriers, siege destroyers, and at the center of the formation moved something enormous. General Hale stared carefully. What is that? Sensor readings appeared beside the object. Several officers immediately went pale. It's a stellar devastator, one scientist whispered. The room fell silent. Human intelligence believed the Empire abandoned those weapons decades earlier. A stellar devastator was not designed to conquer planets. It was designed to erase them. President Cole looked toward Elena slowly. So Vol truly intends extinction. Elena nodded once. No surrender offers. No negotiations. Another officer spoke nervously. If that weapon reaches firing range. Nobody finished the sentence. Because everyone already understood. Earth would die, far away aboard the massive Corthian flagship Dominion Prime. Supreme Commander Vol stood before the giant observation window, watching his fleet move through space. Thousands of ships stretched endlessly across the stars. This was the last strength of the Empire, and Vol intended to use all of it. An older admiral approached carefully. Commander, some Senate members still request peace discussions. Vol's expression hardened instantly. Peace! His cold voice echoed through the bridge. The humans humiliated the Empire before the entire galaxy. He slowly turned toward his officers. If humanity survives this war, every species will rebel. The admiral lowered his head silently. Deep down, many officers no longer believed victory was possible. Human fleets moved too quickly. Human strategies adapted too fast. And worse than all of that, humans fought like a species completely unafraid of death. Vol stared into the darkness ahead. He had spent his life studying war. But humanity terrified him now. Not because humans enjoyed violence. Because they understood it too well. Meanwhile, deep beneath Antarctica, Vault Zero fully awakened. Heavy blast doors opened slowly with deafening metallic sounds. Rows of ancient machines stood hidden inside giant underground chambers. Black armored structures taller than buildings. Weapons connected directly into Earth's planetary defense network. At the center of the facility stood a circular chamber glowing with cold blue light. Several scientists watched nervously from protected control rooms. One whispered quietly, I still cannot believe we're activating it. Another answered softly, "We may not have a choice anymore." Footsteps echoed across the frozen floor. President Cole entered the chamber alongside Elena Reyes and General Hale. All three stared silently at the massive machine before them. It looked almost alive, pulsing softly beneath layers of black metal. General Hale broke the silence first. "We buried this thing for a reason." Elena's voice remained calm. "And now Earth may need it." One scientist approached, carefully holding a data tablet. "Final authorization required." President Cole did not immediately answer. Instead, he looked toward the machine again. Humanity created countless terrible weapons during its early history. Most were destroyed. Others were banned forever. But this weapon, this was different, because it was not designed merely to destroy enemies. It was designed to end wars permanently, no matter the cost. Suddenly alarms echoed through the facility. An officer's voice filled the chamber speakers. Enemy fleet entering outer soul defenses. The battle had begun. Across space, the Corthian armada opened fire. Massive energy beams crossed the darkness toward human defense stations. Explosions lit nearby moons like artificial suns. Human fleets immediately counterattacked. Black warships surged forward between enemy formations while hidden drones flooded the battlefield. The largest space battle in galactic history exploded across the Sol system. Ships died by the thousands. Entire formations vanished inside storms of fire and shattered metal. Near Jupiter, the Titan-class dreadnought unleashed its main cannons for the first time. Blue energy beams tore through multiple enemy cruisers instantly. Even the stars seemed to shake. Silence spread across the Sol system. For one impossible moment, the entire war stopped. Human ships froze in space. Corthian weapons powered down without warning. Even the stars themselves seemed dimmer. Inside the bridge of the Corthian flagship Dominion Prime, alarms screamed wildly while officers struggled to understand what was happening. "We lost targeting systems. Navigation offline. Main reactors unstable." Supreme Commander Vol grabbed the edge of his command table as the lights flickered around him. What did the humans do? Nobody answered, because nobody knew. Far below the ice of Antarctica, Vault Zero shook with deep vibrations. Blue energy flooded through giant cables connected directly into the ancient machine at the center of the chamber. The massive structure slowly unfolded like a waking creature. Layers of black metal separated one after another. Symbols hidden for centuries glowed across its surface. President Adrian Cole stared at the machine in silence. The activation had succeeded, but something already felt wrong. One scientist looked terrified while reading incoming data. "Energy levels are still rising." General Hale frowned. "Can we control it?" The scientist hesitated too long, then quietly answered, "We don't know." A heavy silence filled the chamber. Humanity had built the weapon during its darkest age long before uniting as a planetary civilization. The machine had never been fully tested because, during the first experiment, an entire moon vanished, not destroyed, vanished. Every record, every signal, every trace erased completely from existence. That day terrified humanity enough to bury the project forever. Until now, suddenly every screen inside Vault Zero activated at once. A face appeared. Ambassador Elena Reyes. But she was no longer aboard the Resolute. She stood inside another command chamber somewhere unknown. Behind her stretched rows of ancient human soldiers, wearing black armor unlike anything used by modern fleets. General Hale's eyes widened slightly. "The Eclipse Guard." President Cole looked shocked. Even among humanity's secret military history, the Eclipse Guard existed only as rumors. Soldiers trained for wars humanity hoped would never happen. Elena spoke calmly despite the chaos surrounding her. "The machine is linking itself to the entire Sol defense network." One scientist interrupted nervously. "That's impossible. It was never designed for independent expansion." Elena's expression darkened. "It's adapting." Far above Earth, the battlefield transformed into confusion. The Corthian stellar devastator suddenly stopped charging its weapon. Giant energy arcs exploded across its surface, while entire sections lost power. Human fleets regained movement first. Black warships surged through the darkness, once again like wolves entering wounded prey. But something else moved with them now. New vessels, dark triangular ships, emerged silently from hidden space around Earth. No human markings, no fleet numbers, only smooth black armor that seemed to absorb surrounding light itself. Korthian officers stared in fear. Where did those ships come from? The answer arrived seconds later across every communication channel. A calm automated voice echoed through thousands of vessels. Project Eclipse activated. Then the slaughter began. The new human ships moved unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. They did not fire visible weapons. Enemy ships simply disappeared near them. Entire cruisers vanished silently into empty darkness. 1 second present. Next second gone forever. No explosions. No debris. Nothing. Fear spread instantly through the Korthian fleet. Admirals screamed desperate orders while formations collapsed into panic. Commander Vol watched the battlefield with growing horror. What are those things? An officer answered weakly. We cannot track them. Another transmission interrupted the bridge. Human signal detected. Elena Reyes appeared across the main screen. For the first time since the war began, she looked tired. Not angry, not victorious. Just tired. You should have walked away, she said quietly. Vol's voice exploded with rage. You unleashed forbidden weapons. Elena stared at him silently for several seconds, then answered softly, No, you did. The transmission ended. Moments later, one of the giant Eclipse ships appeared directly beside the stellar Devastator. The massive Imperial superweapon tried turning its cannons. Too slow. Darkness spread across its hull like liquid shadow. Then the entire structure disappeared. Gone. A ship large enough to destroy planets erased without resistance. Every surviving Korthian officer froze in terror. The battle was over, but the fear was only beginning. Across the galaxy, millions watched live broadcasts from hidden news drones near Earth. Alien civilizations stared in horrified silence as the unstoppable Imperial fleet collapsed within minutes. Humanity had revealed power beyond galactic understanding. And yet, human ships suddenly stopped attacking. The Eclipse vessels retreated slowly toward Earth instead of chasing fleeing enemies. Inside Vault Zero, warning sirens continued screaming. The machine's energy kept rising. Scientists rushed between control stations desperately. We can't shut it down. It's still expanding. President Cole stepped toward the central chamber. What happens if it fully activates? Nobody wanted to answer. Finally, one old scientist whispered, The machine may continue erasing everything it sees as hostile. General Hale's face hardened. That could mean the entire galaxy. Silence. Humanity now faced its greatest fear. Not defeat, not extinction, but becoming the monsters other species already believed them to be. Elena Reyes returned to Earth within the hour. She entered Vault Zero quickly, while alarms echoed through frozen corridors. What's the status? Containment failing, a scientist answered. The system is evolving beyond its original design. Elena looked toward the glowing machine. The cold blue light reflected in her eyes. For centuries, humanity feared this exact moment. Power without limits. War without restraint. A weapon capable of ending civilizations forever. General Hale stepped beside her quietly. If we destroy the machine now, the shockwave may kill half the planet. And if we don't? Nobody answered. Outside the facility, the night sky above Antarctica glowed unnaturally bright. Even distant stars flickered strangely. The machine was affecting space itself. President Cole looked toward Elena.